Hi everybody, Corey Murphy here from Custom Audio Mutation Studios and Amplification. So the last video I did on restringing a Floyd Rose got a lot of views and everybody was very friendly about it, so I'm glad that was of some help. Well, today is going to be a much longer video. What I'm going to do is, I have a guitar here. This is a Dean ML for Mr. Jason Minks, a guitar player from the Cleveland area. Not sure what bands he plays in, but this is a Dean ML that he wanted to put EMGs and stuff into and all of that, and he was having some difficulty getting it to work right. So he brought it to me. It's the solderless stuff, so I did have to get some replacement parts put in. EMG was kind enough to send us some free replacements because there was probably some defective stuff out of the bag. It happens from time to time. No fault, truly, of EMGs. But now that that's all assembled and I've got correct sound and correct tone and everything, we are going to do a full Floyd Rose restring. So like I said, this video is going to be a little bit longer than the other one. I'm already a minute into yapping. So what I'm going to do is show you guys the whole from zero to hero process on how to get a Floyd Rose guitar strung up. Now this is the first time that this guitar has been strung up, I believe, with this tremolo. So I'm going to actually go and set the intonation point on the saddles. Now this is something that, you know, I think I've built about 400 or 500 guitars in my career from scratch, and you kind of learn that these things are all pretty damn consistent as far as to get things to tune up and be intonated. You set them to a certain spot on the Floyd. So what I'm doing, the other thing, what I'm doing is I'm setting the saddles at a kind of a predetermined spot on the bridge, and this will be my base starting point for making sure that my intonation points are good. So this bridge has already been apart, I believe, at least once, because my customer, Mr. Jason Minks, nice guy, put on some really cool upgraded things onto this Floyd. So he, there we go, yeah, that's right. So he put in a Floyd Rose upgrade, this 32mm big brass block, which I'm a big fan of. I put these on all my guitars. Huge difference in tone for the Floyd. So you see what I'm doing here right now. I am kind of dumping the fine tuners all the way down, and actually what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that they're limber, that they're loose in there, because on a new Floyd, on anything new, you know, there's going to be paint or finish, you know, it's going to be a little stiff. So what I'm doing here, I'm getting everything kind of set in the middle so that when I lock down the locking nut, I can either back it off and detune it, or crank it down and raise the tuning, which is how these little things work. So, all right. So this guitar needs to be tuned to drop B, a wonderfully low, aggressive, heavy metal tuning. Brand new set of strings. And I'm going to actually make a little room for myself here. So what I'm doing here is I'm loosening up, not removing, but just loosening the lock screws that lock in the blocks into the back of the bridge. Okay, so since this is a full raw setup from zero to hero, taking my ball end off, and I'm just going to feed each one of these straight into the bridge. Make sure that the string, you know, is resting down in the bottom, and then just a gentle walk over to lock that in place. And actually, I'm going to put Jason's guitar out the way for a pimento here. All right, so Mr. Floyd Rose, the B string, slide it in, finger tight, take your 3mm Allen key. There we go. And I'm just going to walk right down the line. So I've restrung enough guitars with Diodario strings, because I'm a big fan of Diodario strings, that I know what all the little color coding is. So these things are all based off of repetition, guys. And notice, again, how I'm tightening down those blocks. I'm not murdering them. They're a pain in the ass when you wreck them, to take apart and disassemble and remove, when you mushroom them out at the bottom. Plus, who wants to waste 20 bucks on that and have to order them and wait for them to show up and then rebuild your Floyd? There's no need for it. Gentle but firm pressure with these things. All right, and there's that guy. And just like that. So hopefully you guys are kind of seeing the muscle process with this. And make sure that, again, make sure your string has a good deep seat into that saddle before you lock it down. Once you lock this down, unlocking it and repositioning it can be done. It's not something I like to do. It worries me that maybe because you've mashed it in here, that the winds and the core are slightly compromised. So you undo that, then try to re-lock it. You might get slippage. It might break on you when you put it up to tension. So it's not a flaw in the Floyd Rose. It's just one of the necessary things about Floyd Roses. All right, so this bad bear is all loaded up with strings. We're going to get the guitar back on the bench. Right here. And then, let's see here. What do we got going on? I'm just going to get a basic adjustment going here. All right. Now, holding the bridge in place. This is where it can get a little difficult or delicate. So holding the bridge in place, I'm going to flip this booger over. And the customer also provided these red-coated springs. I guess they're supposed to help cut down on sympathetic ring. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. There's no real specific way to load springs in here. Some guys like to put them where they're kind of making a little triangle like that. Some guys put them straight. It doesn't matter. If it does, if somebody's got, scientific measurement proof, audio proof, feel free to comment with links and whatnot. Try to keep everything as legit and to the point as possible. Eliminate the snake oil that some people seem to drink and adhere to. So, all my strings backing out of the way, and what I'm doing here is my standard stringing process. So this booger, I'm not yanking it, not pulling it tight, but I am getting a good snug. I'm going around with one solid wind, and then through the tuning peg hole and over the winds that I've already put down. Cinch it, pull it tight, and what I'm going to do is put this guy up to some kind of tension. I then bend the string up to kind of cinch it and take it off. There you go. So that's the process for every single string. The heavier wound strings will get probably one good solid around, just like that. Holding the winds down with my thumb, going through the hole, boom. Bring it up to some kind of tension. Now please be aware, I am not stressing out about tuning or any of that. With this guitar, there's no way you're going to get this booger even remotely in tune from here. What you have to do is get all your strings on. And again, notice how I'm just kind of bending the core of that string and thumbing it up So you've got kind of an upward bend right there. Okay. And with the thinner strings, I might give it 2 wraparounds. Well, I should say I do give it 2 wraparounds. There's this. Two. Holding it down in place. Tuning machine hole. And pulling it through and getting a nice good seat. On the plain strings, it's very important to get that upwards bend, so that in case there's any slippage in the tuning machine, the string doesn't pop out on you and knock you sideways or blind you. Because isn't that always the fear? Getting hit in the eye with a fucking guitar string. Ha ha ha. Can't see this one, so on with the nerd goggles. There we go. Look at that. Now I can see. All right, so and threaded, cinch through. There we go. And we're going to pull that booger up. Okay. Looking pretty damn good. I don't like that. There's that. Okay. Do yourself a favor. I think I mentioned it in the last video. Make sure you clip off the ends. There's no need for that shit on there. You're going to put somebody's eye out. You're going to fucking dangle it into an electrical socket. Fucking knock yourself across the room like an asshole. Don't do that shit. Just clip them. You can get a decent set of goddamn cutters at, at Home Depot. $3. Some shit like that. Okay, so that guy's done. So we're all strung up. And with a little bit of tension I have on here, the bridge is starting to pull forward. And it's, you see, I got some backwards flex and all that good stuff. So now comes the fun part. I'm also going to go through and check all my screws. So let me move this back. All right. So the Floyd Rose has to be tight and snug everywhere. So you'll have 2 screws here going into the neck, or on an Ibanez you'll have 2 Allen head screws, machine screws coming up through the back of the headstock. Make sure those are snug, nice and tight. If you have movement here, the Floyd will never stay in tune. All right. Same thing with the bridge. If you've got things that aren't tightened down or aren't seated properly, forget it. This is where a lot of guys have trouble with their Floyds. And oh, Floyds suck. They never stay in tune. Fuck that shit. It's a piece of mechanical engine. If stuff is loose, it's not going to work right. Straight up, bottom line. Okay, so now here comes the fun part. What? Now comes the fun part. So this is a fairly helpful way of getting your Floyd working very, very quickly. Now, there's 2 things about Floyd Roses. There is your string tension up top, how taut or loose the strings are up top, versus the spring tension in the back, which you adjust with this little claw and the 2 big screws. You tighten it down, making the springs tighter, more spring tension, or you back the screws out, making less spring tension. And between balancing that and the string tension is how you set a Floyd Rose. So when you've got a Floyd that's pulling back like this, that means you've got too much spring tension versus string tension. Okay? So it could mean that your strings are not in tune. So if you have your guitar set up for E or D or whatever, like this is going to be set up in drop B. So right out of the gate, I know that obviously the guitar's not in tune. Springs are going to need some adjusting. And you're going to have to kind of back and forth that until you get things how they're supposed to be. So starting with just where the hell is the guitar tuned. So let's see. All right, so this G has like no tension on it. E. All right, so that's B, D. So this booger, right out the gate, has too much spring tension on it. Like I've started to get it to B. So my low B and my middle B for that drop B thing, I actually had to detune the strings. So the strings are too tight, they're tuned up too high, and the bridge is still pulling back, which means I've got too much spring tension on this. So what do? We flip Mr. Guitar over, and we go in here, and we start taking turns off of this. When you first start doing your Floyd, you want to be pretty aggressive with your adjustments. This is that's a lot of turns backing that booger off. Okay, so now this is down to E or A. So I gotta bring this up to B. That's down to A, so now I'm gonna put this at B, B, C, D, E. You're gonna get the most tremolo play out of your middle strings. And as you tune up, your bridge is going to be lifting. You guys will probably see this bridge start to kind of do this number. All right, which means that your other strings that you're tuning are going flat, which is another thing that guys, when you're doing Floyds, you struggle with and all of that. So you got to understand, it's a process. For the initial setup, it is a process. It's not just, wham, bam, all done, everything's great. You got to kind of work at it. If you tune super low, your tuner might not pick up your strings. 12th fret harmonic will help you get there. B, C, D, E, F sharp. So that's got to be an F sharp. E. Yeah, okay, cool. So now that I'm starting to get my strings in tune, my bridge is pulling forward, which is what I want, because there is a very correct way to set that Floyd for awesomeness. Now again, I want you guys to notice I'm really just kind of dinking with the lower four strings. These two, your traditional, your B and your E, don't do a lot for you string tension wise. Now they're a part of it, but right out of the gate, they're not gonna do a lot to you. As you start to get things working, you need to bring them into play, just like what I did right there. I just got those two kind of close. Don't worry about getting everything bullet, like one string, okay, it's perfect, because again, you're shifting. The bridge is shifting, the spring tension and the string tension are shifting, and that bridge is moving. So it's a level of patience and being methodical. But the payoff is heavy metal bliss with all your whammy bar dives. Let's see what. Yeah, E, okay. Oh, we got some fun here, kids. So the good news is, sounds like this thing just needs a little love, a good setup. It hasn't had strings on it for a couple weeks, so the neck's going to have lots of a little bit too much relief in it. What are we talking about there? What's that guy supposed to be? So it's supposed to be B. This is supposed to be F sharp. And you see how I'm just kind of letting the string ring. And I'm watching my bridge. E, G sharp. Right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So we're still getting her set. We're getting her up to tension. When you go through all your strings and it's finally not moving on you, then you've got your balance between the string tension and the spring tension. Now, again, this is the initial part of this. So you just want to get the goddamn thing working. You want to get that tremolo kind of floating, where you can get your pull back and your push down on it. Coffee. Cold coffee, that sucks. Okay, so all right, so now I've got the guitar tuned how it's supposed to be tuned. The guitar's not set up, so the action might be too high, the neck might need an adjustment, and the springs might need some tweaking to get things right. So the next thing you do after you kind of got things working is you flip the guitar up flat like this, and you want to inspect that Floyd. And right now, oh, this angle's a little hard to tell, so I'm going to swing this booger around, see if we can get up here for you guys to see what the heck's going on. So if you see that bridge right there, it's pulling forward a little bit. It's going this way. What you want is you want this bridge to be level with the guitar body. So just see how that's pulling forward? You want that booger level. Parallel, right? No, you want it, yeah, parallel. What the hell? You want it parallel with the body of the guitar. Okay? That's crucial to the guitar being set up properly. If your bridge is, if this is the body, let's see here. If this is the body of the guitar, this guy, and your bridge is pulling forward like this, your tuning, your intonation, and your action, the playability of the guitar will all be off. Okay? Because it's pulling forward, it's making the break point off the bridge shorter, flat. So your guitar will be flat. Whereas if it's pulled back, it's, again, you're getting a break point, but it's going to be a little sharp. So your intonation, again, will be off. Your action will be too low. You'll get fret outs and buzzing and all kinds of problems. If it's pulling forward, your action will be too high, which means you will not be in tune when you play up the neck. You want that bridge, the bridge plate itself, the plate, not the saddles. Never worry about the saddles because of how they're bolted to the bridge plate. You want that booger even, okay? Like, see, right there is even. You guys can see that bar move. So this means that I don't have enough spring tension on the back, which means a little bit of a flip over. And now that we're really close, I'm just going to give it a couple of little half turn, quarter turns. Nothing crazy. And now the guitar is going to be sharp. Okay, so when I'm at this point, when I'm tuning the guitar, when I'm fine-tuning the bridge, at this point, once you get yourself to this point, you'll notice how I'm tuning my guitar strings. I'm doing the lowest string, then what would be the D string, the third lowest, going back to the A string, then going to the G string, and then tuning the B and the E. The reason for that is everybody here that's watching this video that's done a Floyd Rose, when you tune low to high, every guitar, it's, you tune this, then you tune that. Well, this guy's going flat. And then as you keep going up, you're shifting everything unevenly. Whereas if you try to shift in a balanced fashion, E, D, A, G, B, E, you'll maintain the string tension balance much, much better. You'll get a much more accurate setup much quicker. The other way will work, but it just takes longer. And that's where a lot of guys, I think, end up struggling. After they kind of get it balanced, they go E, A, D, G, B, E. Oh, it's E, A, D, G, B, E. Oh, it's out of tune again. Oh, I got to fuck around and all this horseshit. Just bounce back and forth between your low E, your D, your A, your G, then your B, and then your E. That will help a lot. Right out of the gate, that's going to help you a whole bunch. So, and you'll see it right here. Just like that. You just saw the whole process of how to do that. Now I'm going to check my bridge. It's still pulling forward a smidge. The whole point of this madness is to have something that's awesome. So I'm going to take another, we're talking smidgy widges. Right like that. Okay. Oh, damn it, I went the wrong way. Well, so here, check it out. So I made a mistake. I'm just going to tighten it down because my bridge is still pulling forward too much. There we go. And on the return, I'll kind of go down. I'll kind of go down, you know, E, B, G, D, A, and well, B in this case. But whenever I'm tuning up, getting these heavy strings in line with what they're supposed to be. Nice. It's coming together pretty quick. Not too bad. I mean, what, 27 minutes here. Damn, that's nice. Okay, cool. And again, you give it a good look with the eye. Don't lie to yourself. If it's off, it's off. Spend the time learning how to tweak and how to do that stuff, and you'll be a happy monkey. So this guy right here, this is set. This is set. So I got tension on the neck now. I'm gonna actually check my truss rod, which now that the strings are on here, the neck is kind of straightened itself out. And what we're going to do here, now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to put all my goodies back in place. So, nut locks, all that stuff. I haven't set the action yet. I don't even know. It might play great right out of the gate. Let's find out. Well, I think the action's okay. Let's make some noise on this booger real quick. She's not locked down, so she's gonna go crazy out of 10. So it needs a little setup. Beyond that, I'm going to raise the action a smidge. And, ooh, it's got a strict locking nut. Uh-oh. Let's dive into this real quick, kids. See what the hell's going on. Do I have a strict screw? Or a strict locking nut? These are the things that can happen when you overdo shit. No? Alright, cool. Somebody is messaging me, folks. Well, I might have to end this video short at 30 minutes. I don't know who the hell will be able to sit through this craziness for 30 full minutes. There we go. Not stripped out at all. And then... there we go. That's it. She's locked down. Bridge is set. Split out. So I'll put up another video of the aftermath. How's that? Well, it seems like it's in tune, and somebody's knocking.